Hello, everybody, and welcome to Suite 301, coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's been a minute since we've last had a show, December, so hopefully your holidays and your New Year's gone well. We're here in February, end of February, and the snow's starting to melt, and I think we're getting ready for some spring sports. So, hey, well, we're going to come to you live, obviously, and bring you all the updates across all the Cold Club sports leagues. And don't forget, you can always follow our old past archive broadcasts through our Suite 301 Facebook and YouTube pages.
Yes, Sandy, and remember to like our Facebook pages and follow our Twitter accounts for the latest news and media. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel for videos from around the leagues and to watch previous episodes of Suite 301.
All right, well, let's get to it, Christian. I think, the first thing that we need to touch on, this time of year, we're normally talking about spring break. And normally, the spring break staff would be, probably leaving tomorrow to head to Florida to kick off spring training. And this year was supposed to be the inaugural year of the Panama City Beach Swing in the Spring. Unfortunately, we did have to cancel that event. Wasn't for a lack of interest. It was from a lack of teams being allowed to travel and compete. We were anticipating over 70 teams would sign up for this event, as that's a rough number of what we get every year. We had a lot of interest when we announced the move to Panama City. We were excited about it. I put a lot of time into getting that contract put together, but unfortunately we got down to the wire and there were only 3 teams that were cleared by their school to be allowed to go down and compete, and they weren't even in the same week. So unfortunately we had to cancel the event for this year, but it was year 1 of a 4-year contract, so that is where we're going back next year, Panama City Beach Sports Complex, and I think COVID will be behind us then, and we'll just have an amazing event for all those teams that want to come down and experience baseball at the beach.
Absolutely.
Now, the other side of that equation, that's kind of our East Coast spring training. Talk to us about what happened with the West Coast spring training.
Yeah, similar things to Panama City. It just, teams are excited about it. We had Mesquite set up as well as our Henderson event. We have 2 showcases out west for our West Coast teams to take part of. Unfortunately, just due to COVID and teams not being able to participate, we had to cancel both those events, but again, hopefully when we return to normalcy in 21-22, I should say the spring of 22, we'll have both those events up and running for our teams to participate in, so looking forward to next year. And
both of those events were to be held in the state of Nevada, which, correct me if I'm wrong, has been shut down to sports events basically all year, right? And I think March 1st is when they're supposed to declare whether or not they're going to reopen.
Yeah, there was the governor mandate. Specifically speaking, the governor mandate was released February 15th, and they made sure that events wouldn't start any earlier than March 15th, and you wouldn't be approved for your event until March 1st. So with that timetable, it just wouldn't allow us enough time to even plan the event if we're not notified until the beginning of March. So, hopefully, again, all these restrictions, mandates won't even matter next year, and we can plan, our spring training showcase like we normally do.
All right. Now, we do have some great, exciting news to talk about on the baseball front. If you follow our social media or the NCBA website, you'll see that we are moving forward with a season. It's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be a season like no other, because really it's going to be a season more like 2005. For those of you that are new to the league, we didn't always have 300 baseball teams in the organization. We started this organization with 34 and grown it steadily over the years. But and then that's what developed into the breaking off, developing Division One, Division Two, then ultimately Division Three. But the big news here for this year is that we're going to go back to one. I'm not even using the word division. Just it's going to be an NCBA season. All the teams are on that are allowed to compete are on the same playing field. But we've got a good number of teams that have been cleared to play already, and several schedules have been released. Why don't you walk us through what schedules have been put out already?
Yeah, we have 5 schedules officially released, and those have been posted on social media. But we have 3 conferences in the Mid-America. We have the Mid-America Central, and you can see that up on your screen. I'm kind of going out of order. But we have Truman State, Wayne State, which is a new team that we just brought on for this spring, as well as Nebraska. In the North, Mid-America North, we have Iowa State, South Dakota State, the University of South Dakota, MSU Mankato, and Northern Iowa. Those teams were actually, it was nice. They were in a conference. They were very familiar with each other. They were in a conference together last year. They actually played some games this past fall. So it was nice that it worked out that we were able to include them in a conference for this spring. We also have the Mid-America South, which is Missouri Science and Tech, Kansas State University, Arkansas, and John Brown University, which is also a new team to our league for this year. So really excited about those 3 Mid-America conferences that we were able to produce. We also have the Mid-Atlantic South, which is NC State. We're going to be talking to their president here in a little bit. NC State's going up against Craven Community College and High Point University. And then last but certainly not least, at least for right now, we have the South Atlantic East Conference, which is Lander, West Georgia, Clemson, and Tennessee. So those are the conferences we have officially set for right now, but we have quite a few on the horizon. So.
Right, and I was doing some at our baseball meeting this morning. There's some real promising numbers out there. Right now, the count is up to 43 teams around the country have been cleared to play. Now you see, there's not 43 team names up on your board yet, but those are just the ones that have really been had an NCBA schedule released. The Northern Pacific is starting to look good. We have 6 teams approved to play up there. We hope to have a schedule out up there hopefully by the end of this week. The Great Lakes is a region that's got 10 teams cleared to play right now, so hopefully those schedules will be released next week. And then we're also optimistic, March 1st, we're hearing from some administrators that March 1st is the next date that they're set to make some decisions, so we're hoping with March 1st just around the corner, we might get some positive news from more schools starting next week that they get cleared to play. Then we'll be able to sprinkle in. We've got a number of conferences that only have 1 or 2 teams that are allowed to compete right now. We haven't released schedules for them yet, obviously, as we want to wait to hopefully bolster that that enrollment in that region or those conferences. So stay tuned. We're meeting with it weekly, early in the week each week to assess what new information we've been provided with, and we'll get it out on social media because, trust me, it's not a secret. We're excited about that we're playing baseball this spring, and we're excited to get schedules released and start moving forward. So
absolutely. Should be fun.
Absolutely. So should we go to our guest? Is our guest ready? There he is. Justin, welcome to Suite 301.
Thanks for having me.
So we got Justin here, president of North Carolina State Club Baseball, one of the teams that was early on, one of the first teams to come on board and say, hey, we can compete this spring. How exciting was it for your ball club and your players to be able to know, hey, the schools, we can do this. We can go play baseball. We can do it safely. And then when to hear that we've got some other teams in your area, we're able to get you a schedule right now.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome. I mean, we got cut real early last spring, which was pretty disappointing. And then we're kind of off limits this fall. But going back, starting this year, everything was cleared up for us, so we're excited to get back on the field.
Now I know you guys got who do you got? You got Craven and High Point. Are you familiar with those teams? Have you played them in the past before? What do you know about those guys?
High Point, we've played a few non-conference games in the past with them. Craven, we have not ever played, I don't think, so that'll be a fun experience to go down there and play and have them up in Raleigh.
Good stuff. And I also know, our hope is to actually add, another team or two, pending, the conference approval. But one big name that isn't in that conference that normally you're used to playing in that Mid-Atlantic South is East Carolina University. Are you guys excited about that? Not excited about it? I'm sure every time you guys play East Carolina, the guys get hyped for it.
Yeah, they're definitely a really well-known, good ball club. We usually play them every year, and they're definitely tough competition. So we'll miss a little bit of that rivalry, so to speak. But I think it will also be nice to go out and reach out to other teams around and get some extra games scheduled that we usually wouldn't play.
So Justin, talk to me a little bit about the, your roster and how you got to the roster you have right now. I mean, it's been an interesting 12 months. Like you said, you guys got shut down pretty early last year. So that's, was there a turnover in players, guys that sort of drifted away from the program because they didn't get to play last year or couldn't play in the fall? How were you able to recruit freshmen, without being able to say, hey, we're going to go out and play ball right now? It's almost like, hey, come hang out with us and maybe someday we'll be allowed to get back on a baseball field. How'd that process go for you?
Yeah, we lost, I think, around 10 seniors last year, so that was a pretty big hit. And then kind of gave the option to the guys for the spring that if they wanted to continue, then that would be great. We'd love to have them, but keep those returners in. With a lot of the new guys, though, in the fall, the university didn't have freshmen living on campus the whole time, so that was really difficult. We tried to get some people out and all for that, but, just getting it out on social media as best I can.
All right.
And how much, as far as practicing and things like that go, how have you been pretty wide open there? Have you been practicing a few nights a week? What has been your preseason preparations thus far?
Yeah, well, with all this rain going on, we haven't actually had a chance to get on the field at all. Actually, we just finished up all indoor tryouts this past weekend, so hopefully we can get on the field pretty soon and get things going there.
All right. Well, is there any standout players on the Wolfpack this year we should keep an eye out for?
I mean, we've got a lot of good talent coming back. We didn't lose very much pitching, which is really good. So we should have some good arms in that category. And then we've added some new guys that can really hit the ball, and I think we'll be a really solid competitor.
All right.
Good stuff, man. And I wish you guys good luck. I know you guys are at least planning to open up against Tennessee this upcoming weekend, and then you're starting off with Craven starting in conference play. So certainly wish you luck, Justin, this spring, and we're really excited that baseball is back, and hope you and your guys are too.
Yeah, we definitely are. Appreciate it. So hopefully we'll get it started this weekend as long as the rain holds off.
Right. A lot of teams wish they were in your shoes, being allowed to compete and get out there and put on the cleats. So good luck to you and your boys, and hopefully we'll see you down the road.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Nice. Good stuff there. All right. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a crazy year. There's probably a lot of teams that are going to end up hitting the field without much practice time. But
Yeah. Hey, they're playing
extraordinary circumstances take extraordinary measures to get the job done. So, but let's dive over. We have a new team, right?
Yes.
We got a new team that joined the league this year. So congratulations for new team.
Wayne State joined us for this spring, which was, not odd, but this is an odd year. But a team that reached out to us and was looking to play this spring. And normally when a new team reaches out, it's at least a year in the making before they're out on the field. But these guys got their ducks in a row pretty quickly, had a good base before they even contacted us. So, yeah, they joined, and they're a part of that, where are they, the Mid-America Central Conference. So they're excited about playing, and being a part of the NCBA, and we really welcome them on board.
All right. Welcome, Wildcats. Looks forward to seeing you playing on the field. All right. Well, I think that's the wrap-up for NCBA baseball right now. I mean, we've got, again, more information is going to be coming out. Follow the social media. As more schedules get released, we're going to let people know on social media. Hopefully, we're going to have more teams coming on board and expanding those conferences that even already have schedules, sliding another team or two in there, hopefully. So we'll be shouting from the mountaintops as that happens. So
Definitely. I want to give a shout out to Eric Curator, who's been working really hard on getting you guys schedules and things like that. So hats off to him. Good work, Eric.
Attaboy, EC. All right. So now let's dive into a little softball action. What do you say, Christian?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So a little update on the softball side of things right now. It's interesting because, unlike baseball where we've got pockets of teams that have been approved, where we've been able to create conferences and schedules, that really hasn't been the case for softball. We've got a lot of teams that are allowed to play. We have 19 teams right now that have been cleared and approved to play softball this spring, but only one area that has at least three, and that's the Mid-America Central, Nebraska, Kansas State, and Iowa State. Those three have been approved, and they're close enough to form a conference. So we've got a lot of scattered tentacles of teams out there across the country that are allowed to play right now. Only the Mid-Atlantic Central, though, has been given a schedule. We've called it an unofficial schedule. It's been put together for them. Given that we only have one conference right now, we still got to wait. We've got some time. I think we've set the date of March 12th is going to be the deadline where we need to make the decision if we're going forward on the full softball season or we're going to a hybrid season. So we got a couple weeks there before we make their schedule official, get it out of the website. But we've got a lot of pockets of teams that are like two teams where we need the third to come on board. So hopefully with these March 1st decision-making dates, we'll get some more and be able to supplement that and really move forward with conference scheduling and everything like that. So still promising with the number of teams that are allowed to play, though. That's a good number.
That is good number.
All righty.
On to basketball.
Men's basketball. You're the guru in the men's basketball department, I believe.
I think so.
All right. So why don't you talk us to, since the last meeting, we've had to shut down this men's basketball season, but there's talk of a potential invitational tournament. Why don't you talk us through how that went down? Yeah,
so, much like a lot of things with the teams not being able to, a lot of teams not being able to compete, and I think, a detriment to the basketball teams is an indoor sport. I think some administrators probably view basketball differently than they would baseball. So even though teams at the, club sport team at so-and-so university, the baseball team's eligible to compete, the basketball team wasn't. So little harsher restrictions for the basketball team, so we did have to shut that down for this spring. But we did have a few teams that were able to play, and we did have a few teams that were certainly, at least in the beginning, interested in participating in a possible year-end invitational tournament. Wouldn't be a national championship tournament. It would basically just be an event of teams that are able to play, to get out on the court and play some basketball. We're gathering information from teams as we speak on their interest levels to participate in an event like that. Had some great feedback from some teams already. We're shooting for April 16th through the 18th as the potential dates for that event. Those dates are actually when our national championship would have taken place, so we wanted to kind of keep the same time schedule. But yeah, if you are able to compete, if you are cleared from your university, your college prior to April 1st, please let me know. And if you're interested in participating in an event like that, please let me know so that if we have enough teams interested in participating, we'll get more details out and finalized and hopefully have something for you guys to play in come middle April.
So. All right, good stuff. Yeah, might be a chance for that half-court shot on a basketball event. So we'll see how that goes. On the women's side, again, we similar to men's, we did have to shut down this spring season. We got to the point where we only had 3 teams that were cleared to play, and we had a line chronological timeline where we said, if we hit this date, we can't wait any longer. We got to make the call because we just wouldn't have enough weeks left prior to a national championship to be able to even play the season. So we hit that point, only had 3 teams eligible to play, and only 2 of them were within driving distance of each other. So the women's basketball season had to get called off, unfortunately. So, but we're, March will be geared up for, signing teams on for the next school year. Already had, as we made that announcement, I was surprised how many teams that weren't in the league had reached out to us and said, hey, we saw the season is shut down. How do we get involved for next season? And so I've already been in talks with a few teams about early enrollment to join on for next year. So very excited about that aspect of it. Look for more information coming out in March. Early March, we'll be setting the date for the annual league meeting, and we'll have all the paperwork out so teams can, get their contact info documented, updated, get their paperwork in, so everybody's spots are secured for a fall, so we can make the 21-22 season the best, or the first complete women's basketball season we've ever had. All right.
Yeah, and just touching similar to the men's thing, I think I glossed over the fact that we will also have membership paperwork out in March with, the league participation agreement, the registration form. We'll also touch on, are you interested in possibly playing in that invitational tournament? And that the league meeting date will also be selected by then. So be on the lookout for that email coming out probably in early March for you guys. You members of the NCBBA.
All right. Last item of business in Cold Club Sports, Suite 301, football.
What's going on?
All right. Well, we've got, we just announced, I guess the league meeting was announced a couple weeks ago. It's going to be March 9th, Tuesday, March 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a Zoom meeting, and we're going to be evaluating our plans for the fall 2021. The teams have a due date of March 1st to get all their registration paperwork in and their schedule request forms so that we can, basically rip out a fall schedule, the regular season schedule, hopefully get that out to them by middle of March, and then they can go spend their summer, spring practicing, whatever they got to do to plan for that fall season. So that league meeting is going to be March 9th. That deadline to get their paperwork in is March 1st. So that meeting, again, over Zoom, the link has been emailed out to all our member officers so that they can access the meeting. We're going to be talking about just evaluating, where are we, what kind of restrictions are people having, what have they been told about the fall, and really talk about some possible rule changes. I think, big conversation is going to be about eligibility. Is there going to be granted waivers or anything for people that, missed the season because of COVID, or maybe their school was allowed to play and nobody else was, so, are they docked eligibility because their team did play? We'll be evaluating that, having a good conversation on that regard. So if you're an NCFA member, hopefully your officers are going to partake in that meeting, and I'll have some good roundtable conversation and move forward with the planning for the 21, fall of 21. Other item that's been pretty exciting is the NCFA Coaches Show. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you, Christian?
I have not.
All right, so 2 of our national championship head coaches, James Grega from Ohio State and Sacred Heart's Greg Jones, I guess they've become buddies, through the NCFA coaching spectrum, and decided to get together and have develop a podcast together where they call it the NCFA Coaches Show. I told them it should be Greg and Grega, but they didn't go for that title. But so they're going with the NCFA Coaches Show, and they episode 1 was all introductory about what they're going to talk about and who they are. That's already been released out there on social media for people to tune in. And episode 2 is being recorded this evening, 5:30. And
Wow.
They've got a very special guest they're bringing on the show this week. Happens to be me.
Wow.
And we're going to be joined here shortly by James Grega to talk about the show, but really excited. I like the initiative that they took upon themselves to, even though there's been no football in the fall, spring football got shut down, they want to keep the NCFA conversation alive, and heck it, let's bring Greg on and hear from himself. James Grega. There he is.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great, James.
Good,
How you
how are
doing?
Doing well, doing well.
I'm talking up your show over here, and I've decided, you know what, I should do less talking and let the professional speaker, hype your own podcast.
Yeah, so I mean, it was an idea that I presented to Greg probably shortly after the fall season got shut down, just as a way to continue our discussion about expanding, make sure that we keep it alive and keep it going, and get it through COVID, essentially. And obviously, I know with your staff being furloughed for part of the time, and just want to make sure we continue conversation and don't just go dark for an entire year. So Greg was on board. We had some COVID issues, things that pushed us back, but we were finally able to tape our first show 2 weeks ago, and I think it went really well. And I think the whole point of the show is to hopefully get more eyes and ears on our league. Hopefully, get to expand the league. I think we're at 24, 25 teams right now. Obviously, we want to push that out, make the league even more competitive, and hopefully get more eyes and ears on the league, get more notoriety for our league.
Absolutely, and I thought you guys did a great job. I think being a journalism major yourself, I know that's right in your wheelhouse. And your content was great. Introductory show, explain who you guys are, your passions, your favorite moments. It was great. It was great listening. I really enjoyed it, and then I'm excited to be a guest on the next show. So I know we're taping that tonight. When is that going to get released? Do you expect?
We're hoping, tape tonight. Hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday, we'll have that up. We'll push it out online. And we're excited to talk to you about how the league got started, how we're keeping it going, and all the great things that the NCAA has to offer. So we're hoping to have that out by Wednesday or Thursday of this week.
All right, absolutely, and I'm sure for future shows, I guarantee you, knowing a lot of the characters in this organization, there's going to be some other head coaches out there that are going to probably be lining up to, be on episode 3, episode 4, etc., and getting there and talk shop with 2 national championship coaches.
How has the reception been?
There's more coaches that want to be involved, and that's great because whoever wants to be involved, the more the merrier. It just creates more discussion about our hopefully about expansion. Like I said, the whole point is just more eyes and ears on our league. So we're excited about having former players, coaches, presidents, officers, whoever on, so that we can continue the dialogue about helping our league expand and succeed.
And James, how has the reception been? Have you gotten any comments, any feedback from players, teams about the show?
Like I said, the head coach from Loyola, some former players here from Oakland, who's one of our rivals, obviously, have reached out saying they love the show and they want to be a part of it, share their experiences about the league and what it's meant to them, what it's brought to them, their experiences. Like I said, I think those stories and those experiences can only help. Hopefully, the right people hear that, and they want to start a team at their school. A club sports director hears it. A football player at another school hears it. I know personally, we love as an Ohio State guy. Ohio State loves some play in this league and now coaching in this league. We'd love to have more Big Ten teams in our league. I mean, I think Michigan State, other than us right now, another Big Ten school that has a club football program. We would love to have that team up north have a team. I know Flint branch used to have a team. They don't anymore, but we'd love to have their Ann Arbor branch, their main campus have a team. And some of the other Big Ten schools we'd love to see get involved. So we're hoping that some of these clubs, sports organizations see this. They see how beneficial on this league can be, and hopefully they jump on board.
Absolutely, we hope so as well. So, all right, James. Well, appreciate you taking some time out of your day today to jump on Suite 301 and plug the NCFA Coaches Show. And I look forward to meeting with you and Greg Jones tonight for our taping.
We'll talk to you later tonight.
All right, sounds good.
See you, James.
All right, so just to recap NCFA, March 1st, get your LPAs and schedule request forms in. March 9th is the meeting, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there or be square. So I think that covers Suite 301 for this week. That's our show for this month. Really appreciate you tuning in. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
And the next episode will be Tuesday, March 16th at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook Live. Join us to catch up on everything that's happening around Call Club Sports.
All right, Christian, thank you. Good to be back on set with you again. And, hey, for you at home, don't forget, it's a game.
Have fun.